So patiently. And today our topic is experiential learning in science. And I want to know how many of you are science teachers and what do you expect in this webinar? You must be already knowing so much about experiential learning and you must be practicing also. Uh, am I audible or not? Yes. Yes, audible. Okay. Some people are writing sound problem. That's why I'm asking. Okay, so let me ask you first of all, what according to you is experiential learning? Can you write in the chat box, please? Everyone kindly write in the chat box, what do you think is experiential learning according to you? Yes, please. Uh, can I see your answers? Learning by doing. Okay. Somebody's written learning by doing, learning by doing, learning by doing. Okay. Okay. Same learning by doing, learning by experience. All right. So all of us have a basic definition that experiential learning is basically learning by experience or learning by doing. But experiential learning is more than learning by doing or learning by experience. It is actually learning through reflections by doing, because reflections on doing. When we do something, it's not just the procedure of how to do it and how to connect things and demonstrate something or watch some, observe something being demonstrated. Actually, when we do by our own hands or watch something, and then there is a reflection, there is a thinking on that. Now, that is called really the experiential learning. Reflection must be a very, very necessary part of this learning by doing. Learning on doing, yes, but thinking about it, reflecting about it, having insights about it, that is a part of experiential learning. And why do you think that experiential learning is important? Tell me quickly in the chat box. Why do you think the experiential learning is very, very important, especially now? Observation and conclusion. Okay. So why other people related to life, practical, okay, remains forever, long time, observation, okay, what more? It connects to practical, for more clarification, retained for long, skill development, more effective, okay. Mistakes are clearly understood. Right, so when we do something and then we reflect on it, not only we understand better and not only it brings more interest, but the real advantage is that we get competencies. And you know that NEP 2020, NCF 2023 is main paradigm shift from the earlier policies. In this policy is content delivery to competency building. अर्लियर वी ऑलवेज यूज टू बी फोकस कि ये सिलेबस है, ये सिलेबस हमें कंप्लीट करना है. लेकिन अब ऐसा नहीं है. अब नई एजुकेशन पॉलिसी के हिसाब से देर आर सर्टेन कॉम्पिटेंसीज दैट हैव टू बी डेवलप. सपोजिंग योर वन ऑफ द कॉम्पिटेंसीज द चिल्ड्रन विल analyze a given demonstration and answer the questions. Now, analyze is important, but demonstration you can do from any topic. So now our aim is going to be build competencies, and the topic can be any topic of your choice. So when we are talking about building competencies, what exactly are these competencies that we want to build, and how does experiential learning help us? So the competencies are obviously being able to observe keenly, being able to analyze, being able to make inferences, being able to understand that if we vary something, what will, how will it affect another variable? So what are the implications of our actions? How we can use this particular concept in some other area? So thinking about all these and getting all these skills of analyzing things, all the intellectual skills, then your psychomotor skills, which we get by doing things with our own hands. All these are together going to build our competencies. And when we are able to communicate our findings properly through proper evidence, data, that is how we get the communication skill. And when we think about our own thinking, when we say that this is our conclusion, and then somebody says, what makes you say that? We give our reasoning, we give our logic, we give our evidence, we give our data. That is when we are doing critical thinking. So all this is achievable. All these competencies, all these 21st century competencies are achievable through experiential learning. So what we understand is experiential learning mainly consists of two components. One is doing, and the second is reflection, thinking about it. Okay. So now today what I'm going to do, I'm not going to show you any PPT. I'm going to show you certain demonstrations, certain activities which all of you can do. And then I'll also demonstrate here how we can start reflection on each activity, how we should discuss in our classroom so that children are able to think also. Okay. So if you can pin my screen, you will be able to see it better. Sir, can you kindly pin my screen so that people can only see my screen and not any other grid? Okay. So here, if you see on this side, I have one eliminator, which is going to give me a 6 volt fixed supply. I could have done the same experiment with a 9 volt battery also, but unfortunately I don't have the battery right now. So from this this eliminator, I am getting 6 volt of DC supply, just like your batteries. So these are the two leads. This is coming out, red is from the positive and the black one is coming out from the negative terminal. Then here I have आटा. आटा आप सब समझते हैं ना, आटा जिससे आप गेहूं की रोटी बना के खाते हैं, गेहूं का आटा है ये. This is what we use for making chapatis. So now I have rolled it in shape of a U, like this. In shape of a U, I have rolled it, and now I'm keeping it here. One terminal I'm fixing inside this, and the other terminal I'm fixing on the other end of the other arm of the U. And I've switched on 6 volts of supply. And then here I have one LED. So when I put the LED here, you can see that it is lighted. So first question is, can you see the LED lighted up? Is it visible? Is the light of the LED visible to you? Yes. Okay. Can you also see some colors in it? Okay. Now, my question is, without any wire in this circuit, how could the LED get lighted up? See, I have not connected the LED with these two wires. I have connected the LED inside the atta or the dough. So how is it getting connected? Can you write in the chat box that how can it get the supply? Ions. Okay, where are the ions? Does wheat flour have ions? Through ions in water. Now see, tap water is not so conducting. If I put it in atta. So what I did was that I have introduced ions. Can you guess how I could have introduced the ions in the atta? In water, okay. Salt, right. Absolutely true. I have mixed some salt with the atta and I have kneaded the dough. So now you can see that my LED is not lighted. But when I elongate this atta, now can you see the LED lighting up? And can you see there are many colors in this LED now? Red, green, blue, many colors. Are you able to see the different colors? This is red, green, blue, red, green, blue, red, green, blue. Okay. And then when I fold back the atta like this, only red color is visible, and now hardly you can see the glow. I'm sure you are not able to see the glow right now. Let me switch off this lamp. You are not able to see the glow. Now, as I elongate, you can see the glow, and green color has come back, but blue is yet not there. So now you can see the blue color also. Now you can see the, wait, I have to keep it flat otherwise. Yes. So now you can see the blue color as well. If I elongate it better, more, now it's red, green, blue. And then if I fold it back again you will see the red, only the red color will remain, and all other colors will first disappear. Only red will be there, and now even the red glow can hardly be seen. Now see, hardly any glow can be seen. So this is the wonderful demonstration that you can do. But the question is, why is it behaving like this? That when I fold the dough, there is hardly any lighting. The LED is not good. And when I elongate the dough, at that time LED starts glowing, and first only red color, then green and blue also appear gradually. Yes. So what do you have to say regarding what is happening here? What exactly is happening when I fold the atta? So Hemaji is saying no movement of electrons when folded. Of course there is movement of electrons, because you can see a faint glow here. But when I see movement of electrons through what? Movement of electrons through the LED. That means there is no current effectively. No current through LED, and that is why it is not glowing. But the point is, why there is no current through the LED? Yes? Why there is no current through the LED? Distance. How does distance matter here? Yes? Write in the chat box. What do you think could be happening? Surface area and resistance. Okay. So what about surface area? When I'm making the atta longer, what is happening to, does surface area affect the current ever? Which area affects the current? Could affect the current? Yes. Which area could affect the current? Is it surface area? Length and resistance. All right. So Sonuji, you're saying that because I've increased the length, that is why resistance is affected. But how does resistance get affected when you increase the length? Does it increase or does it decrease? Yes, all the physics teachers or even other teachers you're teaching in junior classes also increase. So when we increase the length increases and the area of cross section decreases, and therefore the resistance should increase. Now, if the resistance is increasing, then the current should decrease, but here the LED starts glowing better and better. If I am folding, then the length is becoming less and the area of cross section is becoming more. So the resistance is decreasing, but the decrease in resistance should decrease then the current should increase. But instead of increasing, the current is decreasing. So what is the concept here? Why is it happening like that? V equal to IR, all right. What about V equal to IR? R has now increased because I have increased the length. and I have reduced the area of cross section. So R is now bigger. But if R is bigger, then the current should reduce by Ohm's law according V equal to IR. If R increases, I should decrease, isn't it? So what is happening here? Well, you would also appreciate that this LED and this part of the ATA, they are in parallel. Okay. So when I am increasing this length, the resistance of the parallel arm increases and as compared to this. And because the resistance in parallel is increasing, the voltage drop across this also increases. Part of the voltage is dropping in this much of ATA, in this part of the ATA. This is like a resistance. Then the other part is this, where there is a parallel combination. And the third part is this part, this small part of ATA. This is also acting like a resistance. So some voltage drop is here, some is here, and some part is here. When I increase this resistance by elongating the arm, the potential drop or the voltage across this parallel combination increases. And because the voltage increases, therefore the current through the LED also increases. And that is the reflection part, or that is the demonstration part. So you see, I have not just demonstrated this like an entertainment, nor I have demonstrated it to just bring interest. Of course, it looks very beautiful, and when you do it in the class, it is so spectacular, and you don't have any other wire where you can change the length or area of cross section at will. But this ATA enables you to do that and thereby change the resistance. But the whole purpose of this exercise is to make three concepts clear. One was, how does resistance change on changing the length and area of cross section? And that is being done in a totally new situation. The second part is understanding that this is actually a series resistance circuit, and in parallel to one of the ATA resistances, you have the LED. And so voltage drops in direct proportion of resistance in a series circuit. That is the second aspect of this, which children have to understand through discussion. And the third part is that when the voltage will increase across the LED, the current through it will increase. And fourth thing is, when you want the red light to glow, it needs less voltage. But when you want the blue light of the LED to glow, it needs greater voltage. So when the voltage across it is less, it is glowing only with red light. But as the voltage goes on increasing, the color changes to green and then it changes to blue color. So this is how experiential learning should look like in the class. There should be a demonstration. Maybe children can do some. This is a very simple experiment. If children bring 9-volt batteries, they can do it themselves, all of them on their own table. So let them do by hands and then ask those questions, small questions in small steps, simple steps, which they can answer. And therefore the reflection will happen and deeper understanding of concepts will happen. But at the same time, they will learn to observe, they will learn to analyze. You can even ask them, what all do you observe? You need not tell them that a red light is visible and now green and now blue. Ask them, what do you see now? What color of light do you see? Then after you elongate the ATA, now what do you see? They will themselves tell you now green color is also visible. Elongate more, then they will tell you even blue color is visible now. So they will themselves, it will come to their mind, now how is it that the color of LED is changing, right? And that is how children will themselves would like to learn. Okay, so this was my first experiment. Now, how many of you have brought a pair of specs with you? I had requested Dr. Shubhashri to message to everybody to bring a pair of specs. एक चश्मा लेकर आना था. आपके पास है चश्मा? How many of you have? If you have it, please write yes in the chat box. Okay, you have. Okay, now take off your chashma and show it towards a light in your room and tell me how many images of that light are you seeing. Here you might be able to see some number of images of the light which is on my table in one specs, only in one. How many images of a light are you able to see? Are you able to see images of a light source, maybe a bulb or a tube light in your room? Are you able to see the image? 4 images. Now, person who said 4 images, do you have a bifocal specs? No, focusing. Do you have bifocal lens? No, don't see the bifocal lens. Normal, ordinary specs, which has only either reading or far off vision के लिए जो है. So you will see that in one side of the specs, you with the normal chashma, you will see 2 images, right? 2 images. So source is on one side, and then when you are keeping it like this, you are looking from the same side on which the source is. So now tell me why there are 2 images being formed. Write in the chat box. See, now we are doing the reflection. We have seen something, we have done something by our own hands, we have kept the spectacle towards the light source, and then we are watching from the same side, and now we are analyzing, now we are reflecting on it. So I want to know that when you are watching the 2 images, what do you think is the reason for these 2 images to get formed? Yes, in the chat box, please write. अच्छा चलिए मैं इस क्वेश्चन को और भी आसान कर देती हूँ. मुझे ये बताइए कि ये जो 2 इमेजेस आप देख रहे हैं, ये रिफ्लेक्शन के कारण बनी है या ये रिफ्रैक्शन के कारण बनी है या कुछ और हो रहा है? यस मत बोलिए, या तो रिफ्रैक्शन बोलिए या रिफ्लेक्शन लिखिए अपने उसमें. बेंडिंग ऑफ लाइट तो कोई मतलब नहीं है. बेंडिंग ऑफ लाइट तो रिफ्लेक्शन में भी हो रहा है, रिफ्रैक्शन में भी हो रहा है. सो what do you say? Is it refraction or is it reflection? Okay, now many of you are saying it is refraction and many of you are saying it is reflection. So now my question is that why do you think it is refraction? अब अगर आप देखिए इधर से लाइट आ रही है और मैं भी इधर से देख रही हूँ चश्मे में. मैं इधर से नहीं देख रही, मैं जिस साइड से लाइट आ रही है उसी साइड से देख रही हूँ. So which light is coming to my eyes? Is it the light which is reflected from the specs or which has passed through the specs? आप अप्रिशिएट करेंगे कि इधर से लाइट आई, इससे इसके फ्रंट सरफेस से टक्कर खा के वो लाइट मेरी आंख में गई, and that is making an image. So first image is due to reflection from the top surface. And then why is the second image there? Because all the light is not getting reflected to my eyes. Some of the light is getting inside the walls of thickness of the specs, and that is refraction. And then again from the back side of the thickness, it is getting reflected back to the front surface. And then from the front surface, it is coming out by refraction. So the second image is formed due to reflection as well as refraction. So those of you who were saying refraction, you are also correct. Those who were saying reflection, you are also correct. But I want to know that the second image which is being formed, that is due to which light? The light which is striking the inner surface. And this light is undergoing how many reflections and how many refractions before making an image in my eye? Or let's say the light which is falling here, it goes and strikes the back surface and then comes out of the specs and then reaches my eye. So before reaching my eye, how many reflections and how many refractions is it undergoing? Both is okay. I'm saying how many times it is undergoing reflection and how many times it is undergoing refraction. No, both are not 2 times. You see, first time one reflection is making one image. That is, keep it separate. I'm talking about the other image. For that, light goes inside, that is refraction, strikes the back surface and reflects, that is one reflection, and then comes out through another refraction. So total 2 refractions and 1 reflection when it comes out, right? So this is also analysis in detail, and this is how the children have to learn to think. Now my question is, what other characteristics of the images you see? You know you have 2 images, right? Tell me, are both the images having same size? Yes or no? Please write in the chat box. Do both the images have the same size? No, no, they are not. They are different size. What else is different? Are they made at the same distance from the surface of the lens spectacle? Yes or no? Are they made at the same distance? No, different positions, right? Now, when you look at the bigger image, tell me, is the bigger image farther off or is it nearer? Tell me, please observe the image. Tell me, the bigger image is farther off or is it nearer? Bigger image is farther off. All right. Yes, intensity, distance, size, all are different. Wonderful. But now I'm saying the bigger image is farther or nearer. So you're saying it is farther. Now tell me, if the image is farther, then whether the surface in which it is made, does it have bigger radius or smaller radius? Please listen to my question carefully. आप चश्मे के इधर से देख रहे हो, आपको एक इमेज बड़ी नजर आ रही है और वो दूर है, और दूसरी इमेज छोटी है और वो आपके पास है. पर अब वो जो बड़ी इमेज है वो फ्रंट सरफेस के रिफ्लेक्शन से भी बन सकती है और वो बैक सरफेस के रिफ्लेक्शन से भी बन सकती है. तो जो सरफेस के रिफ्लेक्शन से बन रही है उस सरफेस का रेडियस दूसरी वाली सरफेस से ज्यादा है या कम है, ये मैं जानना चाहती हूँ. आर यू क्लियर about my question? My question is this. You are able to observe a bigger size image which is farther off. Second point, that image could have been formed in the front surface as well as at the back surface. Reflection तो दोनों जगह हो रहा है ना. Now, जिस सरफेस में या तो टॉप या बैक, जिस भी सरफेस में वो इमेज बन रही है उसका रेडियस ज्यादा है या कम है compared to that surface in which the smaller image is being formed? Yes, what do you say? Yes, तो कोई जवाब नहीं हुआ ना. The radius is smaller. No, I'm not at all. You see, we are talking about reflection, isn't it? And if you know, then if you know anything about curved surfaces, you have curved mirrors, you know magnification is equal to minus V by U or V by U. ठीक है? U is same for both the surfaces. अगर source of light काफी दूर है और इसकी thickness कम है, तो टॉप सरफेस और बैक सरफेस दोनों के लिए U सेम है. तो अब M जिसका ज्यादा होगा उसका V क्या होगा, ज्यादा या कम? M जिसका ज्यादा है, M is equal to V by U. U is same for both the surfaces. तो M जिसका बड़ा है उसके लिए V भी बड़ा होगा ना. And that is why you are seeing the bigger image farther off. That is first inference. Secondly, for a mirror, you have one 2 by r equal to 1 by v plus 1 by u. 2 by r is equal to 1 by v plus 1 by u. Okay? U is same for both of them. तो जिसका r, जिसके लिए u v बड़ा है, उसका r भी greater होगा. Are you able to understand this? And therefore we conclude that whatever the surface is making the bigger image has greater radius. Clear? अब बात रही ये पता लगाने की कि वो बड़ी वाली सरफेस, बड़ी वाली इमेज कौन सी सरफेस में बन रही है. तो अब उसके लिए आप क्या कोई तरीका सोच सकते हैं कि हाउ यू कैन फाइंड आउट विच सरफेस इज मेकिंग द बिगर इमेज. So you all, maybe if you have water near you, so wet your finger or put your saliva on your finger and touch one of the bottom surface. Touch the bottom surface where the image is and see which image is changing. The smaller image gets affected or the bigger image gets affected. Yes, please wet your finger either in saliva or in water and at the lower surface touch it with the image and check which image is getting affected. You will see one of the images is getting affected and that image is made in your lower surface, right? Now supposing for me the smaller image gets affected when I touch the lower surface. That means the smaller image is made in the lower surface, this surface, and that has a smaller radius, and the top surface must be having a bigger radius. So I have a shape. What kind of shape? How do I share my, okay, let me share one file. Let me just draw and share with you. Just a minute. Where is my Windows screen? Just a minute. Pencil. Let me open one file and then let me come here and let me share my window. Yeah. So is this shared? So now let me draw with my hand. Supposing this is one surface and this is another surface. और ये जो ऊपर वाली सरफेस है इसका मान लो रेडियस है r1 और नीचे वाली का है r2. You can clearly see that r2 is much greater than r1. ठीक है? और अगर ये ऊपर वाली सरफेस ऐसी हो और नीचे वाली सरफेस हो ऐसी, so now r1 is greater than r2 and look at this specs. ये क्या है? ये कॉन्केव लेंस हो गया और अगर ऐसा वाला लेंस है तो दिस इज कॉन्वेक्स लेंस. Okay, so you can find out whether you are using convex lens or you are using concave lens, and then whether it is a reading glass or a दूर देखने का चश्मा. तो अगर आपको किसी और का चश्मा दिया या एक ही लेंस है आपके पास, किसी ने एक लेंस आप कहीं गिरा हुआ मिल गया, एक चश्मे का लेंस, कैन यू फाइंड आउट वेदर दैट वाज पार्ट ऑफ अ रीडिंग ग्लास और अ फार ऑफ ग्लास. अब आप ये सोचिए कि सपोजिंग देयर इज अ क्राइम सीन एंड एक स्पेक्टिकल का लेंस वहां पड़ा हुआ है और कुछ नहीं है. मान लो मर्डरर का ग्लास स्पेक्टिकल टूट गया है और वो वहां पर गिर गया है, एक लेंस. Just by doing this exercise, immediately you can find out whether this person who left the specs here was far-sighted or nearsighted. Okay, so all this analysis you can do by reflection, just simply by seeing two images in the lens of a spectacle. All right. Now, next thing that I'm going to do is I have a leaf here and I have a I have a beaker here, and I am just heating some water. And in this water, I am going to dip this leaf. And I also have a money plant behind me, and I'm just taking out one leaf from here. Yes, so I'm taking out one freshly plucked leaf I have taken out, and I'm just heating water, hot water I'll make, and then I'll pour here. Okay, so please see carefully. You need to pin my screen. Then only you will be able to see what I really want to show you. It is something very, very beautiful that you will see. Yes, so it will just take 1 minute for the water to get heated. Yes. So here is the hot water that I'm pouring. And now I'm putting the leaf here. Do you see something in the leaf? Are you able to see something on the surface of the leaf? Please write in the chat box, what did you see on the back side of the leaf? If it is visible, bubbles, wonderful. Are they shining beautifully? Yes. So from where could the bubbles come out? From where are they able to come out? Stomata, right? So you can show the children that stomata are very much present. Now I put this leaf which was plucked much earlier. इस लीफ पे आपको क्या कोई बबल्स नजर आ रहे हैं? Tell me, are you able to see any bubbles on this leaf? No. लेकिन अगर आप ये मनी प्लांट की लीफ को 4 घंटे पहले तोड़ के भी रखेंगे और गर्म पानी में डालेंगे, उसमें आपको बबल्स नजर आएंगे. दूसरी लीफ में आपको नजर नहीं आ रहे क्योंकि ये लीफ मैंने काफी देर पहले तोड़ के रखी हुई थी. सो व्हाट डज इट टेल मी अबाउट द नेचर ऑफ द टू लीव्स? What does it tell me about the nature of two leaves? Any idea? What is the difference between the nature of two leaves? Fresh or not fresh is okay. But what about the processes that are going on inside it? What gas was coming out of the stomata? What gas probably was coming out? Oxygen. See, I have not proved it, but let us say it was oxygen. If it is oxygen coming out, when does the oxygen come out? In what process? Is it in respiration that oxygen comes out? Photosynthesis, right? That means the leaf which was plucked 4 hours earlier, it has stopped photosynthesizing. लेकिन अगर मैं मनी प्लांट को 4 घंटे बाद भी गर्म पानी में डालूंगी, स्टिल बबल्स आएंगे. मतलब ये प्लक करने के 4 घंटे बाद तक फोटोसिंथेसाइज करता रहता है. और अब एक बहुत ब्यूटीफुल चीज, हम सब लोग हिंदुस्तानी जो लोग हैं वो अपने सारे जो रिचुअल्स होते हैं, हवन होता है, गृह प्रवेश होता है, हम आम की लीव्स एक धागे में लटका के दरवाजे पे टांग देते हैं. सो व्हाट डू यू थिंक इज द इम्पोर्टेंस ऑफ दोज मैंगो लीव्स? आप 4 दिन पहले की तोड़ी हुई मैंगो लीव्स भी अगर गरम गरम पानी में डालेंगे, आपको ऑक्सीजन के बबल्स नजर आएंगे. क्यों? That tells us how much photosynthesizing capacity the mango leaf has even after being plucked off the tree 4 days ago. And in fact, you could do these kind of projects with your children. You pluck the leaves of different plants and trees and एक fresh, एक घंटा पहले, एक 2 घंटा पहले, 3 घंटा पहले, 4 घंटा पहले, एक दिन पहले, 12 घंटे पहले, 24 घंटे पहले, 36 घंटे पहले, ऐसे करके आप अलग अलग प्लांट्स एंड ट्रीज की लीव्स के पैकेट्स बनाइए और फिर उनको गर्म पानी में डाल के देखिए कि कौन सा जो है वो ऑक्सीजन बबल्स दिखा रहा है, कौन सा नहीं दिखा रहा है. एंड दैट विल टेल यू that which leaves are able to photosynthesize for a long time, even after getting separated from their tree, from the main plant. So these are the kind of investigations and thinking that we can make the children do even after the demonstration. The investigation can continue and so much more can be done. And the last experiment that I want to show is this one. So you see here, यहाँ पर क्या है, यहाँ पे एक मूंगफली का दाना है, ये मैंने एक पिन के ऊपर लगा रखा है मूंगफली का दाना, ठीक है। और यहाँ पर मैंने 60 ml वाटर लिया हुआ है एक बीकर में, और इस 60 ml पानी का मैं टेम्परेचर मेजर करती हूँ। ये टेम्परेचर आपको शायद नहीं नजर आएगा, ये टेम्परेचर इस समय है, just 1 second, this temperature is 32. No, this is just a minute. क्या टेम्परेचर दिखा रहा है? Not able to see this. Yes, this is showing. एक second. This is showing. I'm hardly able to see this. Yes, it is showing 32. Okay, so the temperature of this water is 32 right now. और अब मैं इस पीनट को मैं जलाती हूँ, इसको मैं माचिस की तीली जलाकर और मैंने इसमें आग लगा दी है। Now it is burning. Suppose it starts burning. I'm just making it burn. I'm just making it burn. Let me light up the matchbox again. I hope it catches fire quickly. See, this experiment is to be done when you're teaching calorific value. You normally have calorific value of the fuels. So I'm going to use this peanut as a fuel because it can burn and it can give heat and light. The only thing is it should be able to catch fire. Yes, it has caught fire now. Okay, so this has caught fire, but the fire has gone out. I'm just waiting for it to catch good fire. Okay, and now I'm keeping this beaker over this. So अगर ये पूरी जो पीनट है ये पूरी जल जाती है, आपको क्या लगता है कि ये कितना टेम्परेचर बढ़ा देगी 60 ml वाटर का? राइट योर गेस इन द चैट बॉक्स कि जितनी देर में ये मोमबत्ती पूरी जल जाएगी उतनी देर में ये वाटर का टेम्परेचर कितना बढ़ा सकती है आपके हिसाब से? जस्ट राइट अ गेस दैट हाउ मच विल इट increase the temperature of water. $40 100 10 100, ये तो बहुत ज्यादा वेरिएशन है आपके आंसर्स में। 2 डिग्री 40 डिग्री 5 डिग्री 60 डिग्री अप्रोक्सीमेटली 70 डिग्री, कोई 40 डिग्री बता रहा है। इट्स अमेजिंग वेरिएशन इन योर आंसर्स, बहुत बहुत अलग अलग आंसर्स हैं। 90 डिग्री 3 to 4 डिग्री 40 डिग्री। अब मजा तब आएगा ना जब हम करके देखेंगे कि ये कितना होगा। तो एनीवे, अगर आपका टाइम खत्म हो रहा है और आपको जाने की जल्दी है तो आप बिना देखे भी जा सकते हैं, लेकिन आप घर पे इसको करके देखिएगा और ये देखिएगा कि ये कितना टेम्परेचर इंक्रीज कर सकता है। और फिर आप ये डिस्कशन करिए कि फिर कैलोरीफिक वैल्यू कैसे निकालेंगे हम इस पीनट की। How do you think you can find out the calorific value of the peanut? Yes, write in the chat box what can you do to find out the calorific value, approximate calorific value of the peanut? कैसे निकालेंगे बताइए, चैट बॉक्स में लिखिए. Water will start boiling. I don't know whether it will boil or not, but I'm asking you to tell me that even if we measure the temperature, final temperature, and we find out the change in temperature, how are then we going to calculate the calorific value? तो एक सर ने लिखा है कि फॉर्मूला, कौन सा फॉर्मूला? मास ऑफ पीनट बाय चेंज इन टेम्परेचर. Mass of peanut by change in temperature. Do you all agree that that is the formula which will give us the calorific value? Calorific value की unit क्या होती है? What is the unit of calorific value? देखिए अब ये बर्न हो चुकी है और अब मैंने इसका टेम्परेचर देखा है, तो ये टेम्परेचर आया है अभी कहां तक? This temperature has come to 54. तो 32 से 54 मतलब 22 डिग्रीज का चेंज हुआ. ठीक है, अब मुझे ये बताइए मास ऑफ द पीनट. अब मैं ये अगर मास ऑफ द पीनट ले लूं, now are you saying joules per degree Celsius? Is that? No, kilojoules per kg. yes, एनर्जी बाय मास आना चाहिए. पर ये कौन सा मास है जो कि केजी में आप बता रहे हैं? किसका मास? Whose mass is it in this formula? Will it be the mass of the peanut when it was not burnt? Or will it be the mass which is left behind? Or what? What mass are we talking about in this formula? The mass in the formula is the mass which has burnt. And therefore, you have to find out the mass now and you have to find out the mass before burning and find the difference. That difference is going to be the mass which is burnt, right? But tell me, will that be accurate mass which is burnt, or there is another source of error? Yes? Is there any other source of error in the mass? Yes. You might have seen this black part suit all around, and you might have seen some smoke escaping. So that mass, what is that black smoke? That is the unburnt mass, right? So even the mass of the difference in the mass of the peanut 2 times is not giving us the mass which got burned, because some of the mass has come out and got deposited here. So we might tell the children to discuss the process, but then they can also discuss what are the ways in which the error will creep into the experiment. So this was only about mass. How much energy it gave us? How are we going to calculate that? By finding the rise in temperature, the mass of the water and specific heat of the water. There is a formula Q equal to ms delta T, which will tell us how much heat is required to heat the water by this 22 degrees Celsius. That is the energy which the peanut has given. So that energy divided by the mass burnt, will that give us the calorific value of the peanut? या वहां पर भी कोई एरर है? बताइए, वहां पर भी कोई एरर है क्या? The error is this कि all the energy has not gone into heating the water. Some energy has been used to heat the glass container. Some of the heat has escaped all around in the atmosphere because I did not cover it. So that is another source of the error which will creep into this. But nevertheless, yes, energy escaped, exactly. But nevertheless, your children would get a first-hand experience of finding the approximate calorific value of a peanut. They would have never thought that even a peanut can be a fuel. And now you could ask them, what else can you use instead of peanut? Yes, can you give me one suggestion? What else can you use instead of a peanut as a fuel? Any one example, one idea. Bread, candle. No, I'm sorry, not candle. Paper, almond would be good. Paper is very dangerous. It catches fire and the fire might spread. See, you might have seen I have put here aluminium foil. Why have I put aluminium foil? Can you say? This is a precaution because here is a steel pin on which I have mounted this. So the steel pin also gets some heat and it gets heated. And नीचे क्या है इसके? इसके नीचे एक कॉर्क है और उसके ऊपर मैंने एल्यूमिनियम फॉइल लगाई है so that the heat given by the steel pin is absorbed by the aluminum foil and the cork, the stand does not get melted. So all these are the precautions which you need to take even for a very, very small experiment because fire is involved. So this must be done in under adult supervision. Okay. So this is how we have to have an experiential learning uh, in classroom. That is all from my side today. And if you have any questions, you're most welcome to ask. So do you have any questions? Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So Dr. Shubhashri, can I leave the session now if nobody has any question? Thank you so much for your kind words. It's a pleasure for me because you all answered so beautifully in the chat box that the session could go forward. It is you who made the session together with me. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much. So I don't see any questions. Okay, so I'll be leaving the session now. Thank you all so much.